Hello again everybody, this is part 3 of Melvin's little spring clean thing. As with the last part, there'll be a little card up in the corner if you haven't seen the last one. Today we are doing the rear valance, and as you can see I've already taken off the rear bumper. It is just 4 bolts, 2 in the middle, one there and there, and then 1 around either side, and then the whole bumper just comes off. Of course there's a little bung for the wiring for the fog lamp just there. No, there you go, that one. But yeah, very easy, so now I'm going to get on. Now the rust we're actually treating is all this stuff down here, which is not very nice. It's not the end of the world, but I noticed it and you can see it, so the car doesn't look very pretty. So that's the first thing, but also, I noticed this anyway, but I think now that I've got the bumper off, you can see it, you know, it's more prominent, and I'm actually going to do something about it. These bits here where the corner of the bumper comes down, because you know obviously Melvin has the 3-piece bumper with the metal centre section and the 2 plastic end sections, which is ugly, but that's a 1.1C thing, and so he's keeping it for now, unless I ever get a boot lid with a rear wing on it, and then I will get a full rear bumper, but that's besides the point. So yeah, there are these little rusty sections here. I wasn't going to do anything about them, that wasn't in the original plan, but I think I might now, and I'm not 100% sure. Obviously dealer plates, but the most concerning part about all this is this here. Again, just little spots of rust, and I don't really want to do that myself, especially considering it's the entire boot lid, and I'd either have to do the entire boot lid or blend it, and I'm not up to that skill level, so I'm not 100% sure. I might hand this over to a professional just to take these bits out and spray, but I'm not sure yet. Again, that's a thing for after lockdown anyway, because I can't have anything done about it now anyway. I very quickly decided that yes, I would do these 2 little marks that have appeared here. I'm going to guess because the bumper's rubbed against it. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest, but there is a little ridge there as well. So there you go, there's one side, sanded with some rust converter on it, and here is the other side, which is much better, and the lighting is terrible. There you go, that's a little bit better. Drips because I'm me. Well, I've done quite a bit of work today. I haven't shown you it all, just mainly because I couldn't be bothered, but I've done some stuff around that wheel arch, which is looking a lot better. Most of that is a previous terrible paint job from an old owner, but some of that is me, so top marks there. But I just wanted to show you that I have done these bits here. That's the worst side. I've got a little run in it there because I'm incompetent, but the bumper did make a he did push it right back in the paint, so there is a line there. I'm not bothered about getting rid of the line because that is where the bumper sits, so you know it really doesn't matter because of how it looks. So I've done that, and now I'm getting to do the valance, so I've been doing a lot of masking. I've done these bits first. I've not put any primer on the rear valance, just some rust converter and rubbed it back. Yeah, I've done that side, which is now masked. Just showing you this before I mask this bit, and that bit will be done. I'll just wet sand it all, get it all looking nice, and then yeah, it'll be good. The reason I'm not showing you any of this is because I'm so much of an amateur that if I showed anyone anything, it would be counterintuitive. So it's far better for me to just do it and show you little updates than it is for me to try and actually like tell you something, because I have nothing to tell you. Anyway, there you go, you get the idea. So I've just peeled back all the masking and I'm pretty pleased with this. I can't actually remember how much of this I showed you, but I've obviously done these bits. That's a line of tape from a bit of newspaper that was being stubborn. I'm fine about that because the line of the bumper goes down like that, so that's hidden by the bumper, so I'm not bothered. But that is a heck of a lot better than it was, and there is the rear valance itself. You can see, if you really look under, you can probably see the line where the tape was, and if you really go under, you can see a big bit of overspray. But I am really not fussed, because from here that looks perfect. I've also done the edges of this arch as well. They're still not perfect and they are terrible. That isn't actually my spray, that is a previous terrible paint job that had gone rusty, so I've just gone and sprayed over it again, but Yeah, it's by no means perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was, and that's what I was going for. And when the bumper's back on, when it's all polished up, it'll look a heck of a lot better than it was. So that's a success, I think. So the next step is this on the A-pillar, which is quite concerning. I'm not quite sure how that's come about, but it looks as though someone's touched it up before. I've obviously just not noticed it until it's come back. So, yeah, it's not terrible. It's not completely rotten. It's just a bit icky. So I started to mask up around that, and it's just under there as well. Yeah, I've started to mask up the door, and then I'll get on and do this final bit. So here we are, all masked up. I'm going very, very lightly over this area. I've rubbed it back and also put some rust converter on it. It is tiny, tiny bits of surface rust, but it's worse actually down there. You can see, there you go. But yeah, I've rubbed it back a little bit, put some rust converter on. My camera work is terrible today. And there you go, that's in focus. And then I'll get a bit of primer once that's dried. But now we wait. And while we're waiting, I said the other day that I'd ordered a new blank for here, which has come, and here it is. But I might, I'm going to put it in now, but I've also ordered an air conditioning switch from a Japanese Metro, which hopefully I'll use as the click for that heater, sorry, for the radiator fan switch I'm planning to put in. Again, that is technically a bodge, but I think it's better in the long run, really. So these little switches just clip out. I've got the new one here, that's the old one. I needed 2 hands for that, but we'll put this one in now, and it should just click in. There you go. Now that's something I've been planning to do for nearly 3 years now, and I finally got around to do it, and to be honest, it looks a little bit bare. But yeah, hopefully I'll get that air conditioning switch when that comes and swap that in. So it's a day later, and I've sprayed this bit. This has primer and now paint on it, so while that's curing, you know, before I take the masking off, I'm doing this bit here, just on the slam panel. This is where the bonnet prop has been rubbing against it and just created a little tiny bit of rust around there, so I've rubbed that back, and now I'm going to mask it up and spray this as well. Little interruption to the spraying, because I've had delivery from Rimmers. You'll remember in the last video I talked about how the fan switch is broken, so I now have no radiator fan. Well, I decided that I'd fit a manual switch because I'm more at ease with me deciding when the fan needs to be on than the car, and I'd like the fan to be on more than the than Rover say it should be anyway. So I've got this delivery from Rimmers, and everybody loves a bit of period new old stock packaging. So that's been in its pack for at least 20 years, because they stopped using that branding in the year 2000 when it became MG Rover. Probably longer. So this is an air conditioning switch from a Metro that had air conditioning, not many did. Just Japanese markets, Australian markets, etc. I know New Zealand had Metros and had air conditioning in some of them. So yes, there is an air conditioning switch for a Metro, and it works just like a Metro switch does. The difference between this one and a Rover 200 or Rover 25 switch is the light, which is a slightly different size on the Rover 25 ones, but that should just slot in there behind that blank, you know, the blanking switch that I've literally just put in, because I ordered that blanking switch, and the next day I realised that the fan wasn't working, so bought that, and hopefully I'll be able to wire that up, and also wire it into the lighting circuit as well, because there's a little bulb in there, and make that run the radiator fan. So that is now sprayed. That's got a couple of layers of primer, a couple of layers of colour on it. So now, if we move back over here, I think we're going to take the masking off around here and see how much overspray there is, because there's inevitably going to be some overspray somewhere. Well, there it is. That's all the masking off, and that took a heck of a lot. Try that again. That took a heck of a lot longer than I was expecting, because it's quite intricate in this area, you know, all along the seals and all that kind of stuff, and around the door. There was a lot more masking tape in there than I remember putting in there in the first place, but there we go. It now looks Focus. Not perfect. Still quite dull. It needs to be brought, you know, there's just shine needs to be brought out in it a little bit. But it looks a heck of a lot better than it did. And underneath the seal, only minor overspray into there. But I was expecting that anyway. And also it doesn't matter because you can't see it. It's a little bit there. But again, I wasn't aiming for that. As long as that doesn't rust, it's fine. This bit's the visual bit. So this is, you know, the big problem. And it's not quite perfect right around there, again, if that'll focus, because the previous owner had actually used a brush and painted over rust here. You know, it's something that you only notice after you buy the car, but the previous owner had done that nonetheless. And so now, this whole area looks a heck of a lot better, and behind there. The worst bit is, I've just opened the door, is that there on the door, but that's always been there, and it's always been like that, and it's not an issue. I'm not bothered about that at the moment. I wasn't aiming to spray that. Maybe at some point in the future I'll decide that that needs spraying, but for now that should do. And why on earth won't my phone focus? There you go. Right, now that I've done a little bit of wet sanding and treated it a little bit, it looks quite nice actually, but I'm not quite finished that. I'm going to show you how to put the passenger mirror back on, because I took that off before and I thought I might as well show you how to do it. So, if we reach in here, here is a mirror from a Metro. They're the same on both sides, but there are these two stalks here that come out, and there are two screws that just go straight through there, so that's dead simple. I've actually decided that I'm going to swap the door mirrors over, so because they're the same for each side, I'm going to swap this one onto this side and this one onto this side. And the reason for that is because this one, just show you, just has a little bit of a, well, actually no I can't because I've taken one of the screws out, but it has a little tiny rattle to it. It's not, it just moves ever so slightly. So I'm going to put that one on that side and this one on this side, so hopefully when I'm driving the car it won't be as much of a nuisance, hopefully. So doing that has meant I've got to take this mirror back off again, but it does mean that everything will be a little bit more sensible. This one is the one that's going on that side, the one that doesn't rattle. And it's just a little bit more solid than the one that's down there. This one just seems to have a, you know, it just doesn't seem quite put together properly. It's, you know, probably someone's just whacked it at some point, I've not noticed. And yeah, but it's not quite together properly at the seam. And I could try and disassemble it, but to be honest, I can't be bothered. So if I just swap them over, that should work. For me, but for my passengers it'll be absolutely horrible, but I'm not the passenger, so oh well. So there you go, new broken mirror on there, maybe replaced at some point with an adjusting mirror, but if I can do that with one hand, and then that little plate just goes over there. Because I've realised, well, remembered that this mirror's not perfect, you can actually see it doesn't quite fit properly up here. But anyway, I might get some adjustable mirrors which will make it less base model but a nicer anyway, so maybe. Or maybe some heated mirrors, because you can also get this design of mirrors heated, but that means a lot of wiring and I don't think I can be bothered with that. It's all possibilities anyway. We're about a week later now and everything's looking good. So I'll show you around the condition of the paint. Melvin's all nice and clean. He has no front number plate. I will talk about that in another video. But if I can just work around here, see that? I'm bloody pleased with the way that's turned out on that corner. It's not perfect, but it never was going to be perfect, because if we go really, really close, you might just be able to see. It was brushed, so somebody actually brushed over it. I mean, that's a different issue, let's just ignore that on the door, but that was brushed over by a previous owner, so I wasn't bothered about getting an absolutely perfect finish, just wanted something that was solid and was the right colour. I'm never going to pretend that I'm a bodywork expert, because I've never done this before. This is the first time I've ever done it. So, you know, I'm pretty pleased. Again, there is that there. It's like, oh, bugger, I haven't got keys. Give me a minute. Right, I am back with keys, so that I can show you under the bonnet, because that, again, I'm not going to lift the thing up because I've only got one hand now, but that is a heck of a lot better than I was expecting. That's so much nicer. Under that, And again, if we come round to the boot, come round to the rear valance, that is so much better. I'm so happy with the way that's turned out. And again, even around the corners of the bumper where those curved notches in the paint were, it's just so much better. I mean, there's loads of overspray if you look close enough under there, but you can't see that, and it just really makes the back of the car look so much nicer. Actually, I didn't show you me taking the bumper off or putting it back on, so I'll just show you if I can get the right key out. Come on. Keys back in pocket. Yeah, that's something I need to sort. I did use little 3M adhesive pads, but they don't do much. Anyway, obviously my bumper has the metal centre section, so it bolts on slightly differently to most of the K-Series Rover Metros. Most K-Series Metros obviously have the full depth bumper, and they use those two screws there. Oh god, because I'm in a dodgy position here, but yeah. There you go, that's a better angle. K-Series Metros obviously had the full bumper that came down and then used these two screws on each side, there you go, to secure the bumper to the bottom. This one doesn't, because of course metal centre section. The metal and the plastic section screw onto each other from behind, which you can't quite see, but behind there somewhere. And the centre section of the bumper bolts on. Again, my terrible camera today, just through two bolts here. There is adjustment in the bolts, just a little bit on each side, so that secures the centre section, but I've just taken the whole thing off in one unit rather than, you know, unbolting the metal bit from the plastic bits. So the plastic bits screw on there and the same on the other side, and so it's just 4 bolts for the bumper to come off, obviously the plug for the rear fog lamp, and there's adjustment in it. Anyway, there you go, because I didn't show you it, I thought I would. But that, generally, looks so much better. So much better. Very happy with it, you know, considering my terrible lack of skills. So there you go then. I think that'll do for this one, because, again, it's just random crap that I'm pumping out, to be honest, while we're in this funny situation at the moment. So there you go. Melvin is now less rusty than he was. Not free of rust, but less rusty. So that's a good step. I'll have more things because there's other little bits that I'll do. So I think I'm going to do another one of these videos, and then that'll be it. But there you go for part 3. So thank you very much for watching. Keep subscribing and all that kind of stuff, and hopefully I'll see you again next week.